Good evening, everyone. I am here bringing you episode 83 of Manifesting with Meg, Conversations with Extraordinary People. And before I start, I just want to say thank you all for such an amazing year. It's been such great conversations from January to now. And I am ending the year with an incredible guest. And I know that you'll all just love the information and wisdom she brings. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my special guest, Kim Weiss. This episode tonight is the theme Brick Walls Are There for a Reason. It's a show about dreams, inspiration, true happiness, discovering bliss, and it is time once again to manifest the life of your dreams. Before we begin, I ask Kim to set her intention and pick a magical number. This is a show that is based on my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss, 366 Insights of the Day, and I welcome you all to join in the fun as we explore what her intention and her synchronistic pick will be at the end of the show. So without further ado, I want to introduce all of you to Kim Weiss. For over 30 years, Kim has been a public relations specialist, author, publicist, consulting, and overall publishing veteran, serving companies, products, organizations, and authors. And I am happy to say that I am the beneficiary of her wild and wonderful skills. She has, since 1994, headed up the PR department of a major book publisher, HCI, which is Health Communications, Inc., best known for launching health, wellness, inspirational, women's, nonfiction, and self-help, including the best-selling Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And I know you all are very familiar with that wonderful book series. And in addition, she also was involved with a book called A Child Called It. While at HCI, she worked with the legendary actor Kirk Douglas. Oh my God, literally a legend, on one of his final books, Life Could Be Verse, Reflections on Love, Loss, and What Really Matters. I can only imagine the information and wonderful experience that might have been. She also helped put books on the New York Times bestseller list, including I Want by former CNN HLN reporter Jane Velez-Mitchell, and Getting It Through My Thick Skull by internationally recognized survivor and motivational speaker Mary Jo Buttafuoco. And I can imagine that was a very interesting experience as well. Prior to entering the book business, for many years, she ran her own PR firm in Boca Raton. So she is a South Floridian, and it was so nice to connect with her from that place as well, that we both have that South Florida connection. She managed a variety of clientele, companies, municipalities, financial, everything, businesses, from the Unity School in Florida to Waste Management, Inc. She was most recently the chair of the Arts Commission of Boynton Beach, Florida, and published her own book of photos, which is absolutely beautiful and inspiring. Yes, Berta, wow, amazing. This lady brings so much inspiration and awe. I can't wait to share it with you guys. But her book is called Sunrise Sunset, 52 Weeks of Awe and Gratitude. Currently, she runs Kim Weiss Publishing Services and freelances as a publicist for numerous authors. And we'll tell you where to find her at the end of the show. But wow, there you go, Kim. Welcome. It was very exciting when I heard that I was, matched with you as far as publicity was concerned. But there's so much more to you. And this is wrapping up our month of Magic and Miracles. And I can't imagine a better powerhouse of PR to bring here to this wonderful stage. Did I miss anything?
I don't. Can you see my head hitting the ceiling?
Sometimes we have to sit back and listen to other people read out our compliments to really truly know that maybe there were some brick walls along the way, but we got past them and surpassed them and really are on the other side able to bask in whatever we decided to accomplish in our life. So bravo to you. Celebration of you, for sure.
Thank you. It's a delight to be with you and seeing each other. We were talking about that.
I know it's crazy because when you usually work with a publicist, it's mostly via phone, and we didn't get to see
email
all the time. Exactly. Yeah. So So this is really wonderful. And I know a lot of people out there, certainly are either in the business of publishing or their own books and maybe have a lot of questions. And tonight, I just really want to invite everyone to join the conversation. Kim has so willingly offered to answer certain questions that you guys might have. So let's take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. For sure. I do want to say that I find it very synchronistic that today, December 20th, we have the theme, brick walls are there for a reason. And especially in publicity, there might be a lot of brick walls that you come up to and upon, but, it kind of really allows you to fine tune where you want to go with that. And those who really want it bad enough will actually persevere, which I think is a great word along with determination. And Berta here is one of those kinds of people who definitely determination and perseverance, she gets to the other side. It's one of my favorite quotes tonight too by Randy Pausch, the late Randy Pausch. He wrote, "The brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are not to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something, because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough." So I love that switch on the perspective of our obstacles that we perceive are out there. For sure, it is an opportunity to maybe take a pause. And, I just, it's purely subjective, whatever that it is that we want to get to. It's based on what all we want. So that's one of the things about this show that I absolutely love, is the intentionalness of, really what it is that we all want. And instead of, finding a brick wall that's stopping our journey to a destination that gets frustrating and disappointing, we can actually embrace it as a temporary pause to, reevaluate your direction, focus on your dream, and recognize that there's a spirit in the next chapter of one of determination and glory. So you get to write that into your story. And I would love to know your thoughts on this, because you've represented so many people. I mean, my God, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Jack Canfield series, even in that, you were there at the beginning of that wonderful adventure. And, there was a lot of, questions as to, even with my book, it's out there. You get to have it, you get to, play with it, and then, put it out in the world and find those hits and plant those seeds. So tell me, what are your thoughts about in publicity or publishing, in PR, what that brick wall may mean for you?
Well, I think that brick walls are the business of publicists. And sometimes I know I'm not the only one to say that we may be kind of a masochistic bunch because we really deal with brick walls. Like we chose that. And there would be, like, if I were to start about Chicken Soup for the Soul, the brick wall there. Okay, first of all, when I worked at HCI for 25 years, and very, very early with HCI, with the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, when you have an author who's brand new, you have brick walls. I mean, there's all of these kind of standards that you have to, and all of these hoops you have to jump through. And if you're not, and because you and I have been through lots of them together. So the Chicken Soup for the Soul brick wall barrier, whatever you want to call it, I was always faced with people calling it an anthology. So if you think about it, when you bring together an anthology, you're not really, the person who you're representing is not really the person who wrote the book. It's I can't remember how many stories there are, but it's all those people. So you have to package your messaging in a way that kind of supersedes that.
Right.
So right on, I can't tell you what the secret was. It wasn't easy. I mean, it was full of challenges, and it wasn't just like, oh, this is a mega selling thing, let's get Jack Canfield on the show. People didn't just welcome that. So it took a lot of, brick walls you have to look for the cracks. You have to find how to traverse them, how to go over them, how to go around them. And you just constantly, that's part of the beauty of being a publicist, is that you're constantly being creative in your mind of how to get around and through.
That's fantastic. I think that's really very interesting. And I think that, one of the things that we all, contemplate is how to be seen in a crowded room, right? Or in the right room, let's say the right room for that matter, because you want to niche yourself to the audience that's willing or ready or needs, or maybe needs the message that you're willing to share with them.
Mhm.
And it kind of goes back to your overall journey, as far as publicity is concerned, or even as a PR person. You have to have a yearning to be able to be the spokesperson for someone else, to champion this wonderful other cause and actually believe it. And that was one of the things I really did love about you. Not only did you read my book, which is definitely a huge plus, because you want the person who is going to be your spokesperson to know about the product, but the other element as well is that, the champion side, the persevering side. And, like I said, I want everyone who's listening I encourage you guys to write in questions, because Kim is in fact opening up to this wonderful audience her knowledge. But I want to go back to the beginning of your journey, when you decided to take this route and, take a look and see, what's on the other side of that. And how did it start? Did you always want to be a publicist, or
I didn't know what it meant. I have in my personality the proclivity to end up like just taking on things that I've never done before, and then figuring out, backpedaling and figuring out how to do it. So before that happened when I was a bartender. I got behind a bar and no idea what I was doing. And I had a boyfriend that was a bartender. So that was my safety, right? That's how I got through. And I was really good at it until I couldn't stand it anymore, right? So This is, I took a job at a national franchise company of these video editing services. It was based in Florida. It was called Video Workshop. It was a brilliant idea. And they franchised all over. Their demise was they tried to go public and it didn't work. But I took this job as director of public relations.
Okay.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I knew the content of the company, what they did. I liked what they did. I also took a really long time to find a job, so I was just happy to get this job. And then I learned. But when you apply that to, then when I went into the book business, that was a whole other story, because it's very nuanced. So when you saw in my resume about companies and municipalities and waste management, that was a lot of publicity of a whole different kind. And then you go and you learn the rules and the ropes of book publicity. And then I fell in love, because what could be better than to work with books and authors, and not be in New York, being in tropical South Florida, and being able to do that. And then the part of my personality that made those things all connect is that I'm a natural promoter. If I know you and love you, I'm going to promote you. And anybody who's my friend will tell you that. That even in really small ways, I'll find ways to at least talk to you about it. And it's not like they all have the same goal, but so it's a combination of all those things.
And Berta's saying, I love it. Jump and grow your wings along the way. And, a lot of times we can talk ourselves out of things because we're scared, or an obstacle shows up and we're like, oh, okay, that's it. I'm done, whatever. But the thing is that you know enough to follow those intuitive hits that you're ready to explore what's out there. Just like when you were bartending and you found a teacher, not bad that he's your boyfriend, right? But you grow and learn along the way. I'm sure even with regard to that particular profession, you learn from there because you've got to talk to people. And I'm sure that those are like the building blocks of, networking, which I can only imagine is a huge, huge function of your career path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it really still matters who you know, in terms of, just so people know what it is that I do. My job is to get stories and to get airtime and to get ink, we used to call it, and get Meg interviewed on TV and radio and blogs and now a lot podcasts, right? That's like the big thing now. But I notice now that it's like when a new person comes on, I go to the people I know. So you're always going to have a better shot. And that's because you built a relationship.
Yeah.
And you're trusted, and they're opening your email because they know your name and they know your reputation. The brick wall part, is, you had the brick wall when you first met those people, but the brick wall is when the people I worked with at Good Morning America and the Today Show are around my age and they retired, maybe they're not even my age. I'm not even sure, and to cultivate a relationship with somebody new there.
Oh yeah.
So where you don't really have the assurance that they're going to respond to you like the person before them always did. So
that's an excellent point, because a lot of people want to rest on their laurels and just go with the flow and just like kind of figure, pick up the phone, call your person, okay, and they'll pull them on because they know you and they trust you, and then that loop goes. That loop goes, and you have to continue to cultivate relationships. And I think that's life. I think that that's the beauty, I particularly think, of life, is the continuing and the cultivating of the relationships, but at the same time keeping your mind open to new people as they come in, for sure. I want to go back to your published book called Sunrise Sunset. It's really quite beautiful. 52 Weeks of Awe and Gratitude. And yes, there you go. I
want a good publicist. It's like, I hope you have to have your book.
Yes. And
always have your book for your frame. Oh,
there it is. 52 I want to make sure everybody sees how beautiful the cover is, and that is photography by you. And certainly I love the fact that you are getting all these other authors out there, but now you've become, a book owner. I imagine this is your beauty that you get to share with the world. And I'd love to know, like, what did you feel? How did you feel when your book was out there in the world? And were you surprised? Was it something really kind of like, wow, I can't believe I did it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I never intended on having this book. I was writing a different book, which was about online dating. I mean, dating in midlife. And it was kind of a funny book. You would have loved it. It's called My Divine Dating Diary, Conjuring Up Love Later in Life. That was the name of it.
Oh, wow.
And it was really funny. I had an agent for 2 years, like a really fancy agent. I mean, that's like one of those, the word Bouchard things that happened. Yeah. And then it didn't get off the ground. I let go, got married. So maybe that's what maybe I needed to write it for that reason.
Well, you got married.
I was no longer in that, I was no longer that person. So, so it's a long story, but from photographing from a vantage point of where I lived in South Florida, I couldn't not take photographs. It was involuntary. It moved all the way into a book after posting on, for family and friends, and then on Facebook and blah, blah, blah. And then a brilliant marketing person gave me a context for how to do this.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the context was, because it really was going to be like a boyfriend-girlfriend book between John, my husband, who's now my husband, where he was captioning photographs of mine. And then I was like, you want to write a book together? He was like, not really, It was just like a sweet, like, little thing, which he doesn't do anymore. He doesn't do that anymore. But this person said, you've worked with all of these megastars.
Yeah.
Time to ask them to do something for you.
Wow, I love this.
I mean, it was a marketing genius idea.
Yeah.
But more than that, it was such an acknowledgement for me, and such a big embrace of, I think 98% of the people I asked said yes.
Wow.
And they said yes fast, and they delivered what they had to, which wasn't, there's all these pretty passages that accompany my photographs in here. So it was a labor of love. It happened very naturally, very easily. The publisher I worked for was willing to publish it, which was, could have been conflict of interest with my other work. So I was promoting my own book while I was working there. So, but it was all like all those things that happen that when they're supposed to, they just, it's like butter, it's like.
Oh, wow. And I want to point out that those individuals that she asked to be a part of her compilation are Jack Canfield, Marcy Shimoff. These are like the heavy hitters of the spiritual world, like people who are out there making a difference in the world. And I'm so happy that you shared that, because the ask is so important for manifesting. The ask is so necessary, because you've put out, you've given, right? You've given that wonderful, sharing that wonderful gift of your ability to promote other people, that when it was your turn to ask, you were ready to do it, and you got Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. These are big people, Candace Bushnell, and that just goes to speak to you that you're meeting where you are, that mirror of who you are, which I think is so amazing. And I do want to point out also that, in addition to the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, you also wrote stories in Ariel Ford's acclaimed book, Hot Chocolate for the Mystical Soul. And I wanted to ask you, what was your contribution with regard to that particular endeavor?
I'll send you the story sometime, offline, but
okay, perfect.
It's about my grandmother, and it's about, these are all mystical experiences. And it was about this mystical experience that I had in a synagogue where I was just reconnecting with Judaism after like rejecting it for most of my life.
Oh, wow.
And I was singing a prayer, and my grandmother's voice came through me, and it was so visceral. It was so visceral. It was not my voice. It was my grandmother's voice. And I had my grandmother was at my house every week when I was a child, but she was, Eastern European, didn't say much. And I didn't have, I started feeling more connected with my grandmother after she passed than when she was alive. It was pretty special, pretty special.
So I would encourage everyone to go to that book to read this, because it sounds amazing.
It's called Esther's Song, I think.
Esther's Song. That was your grandmother's name, Esther.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I'm not
awesome.
sure. It might have a different name. I don't know. Let's see. But yeah, that was fun. And then, I wrote other little short stories too.
So going back to you and what inspires you, because I think it's really important, especially in line with what it is that you're doing in this world. You're still doing, the promoting, they're still doing the PR. You're seasoned at that. You're well accomplished. And I love asking for these wonderful quotes, because I think that, coming from your world, seeing everything the way you do, what inspires you? And the first one that we have here is, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. That's Mahatma Gandhi. What does this say to you? And what does it speak to you, especially in what you do, like as far as your world is concerned?
I just think that, well, first of all, anything that he's ever said, I love.
Yes.
So it was easy, to pick. But I think that, one-upmanship and trying to be better, and, it's just it could just be such a waste of energy.
Yeah.
It's so, and getting back at somebody. I think this more is about, if somebody hurt you, that you need to hurt them back.
So I have to ask you a quick question, because I think this is kind of important. In fact, that you have been involved with HCI and all these spiritual authors. Were you always aligned in that particular niche? I mean, that was something that I was like, well, this is perfect. You and I see things the same way. And I always wanted to ask you that. Is that something that you came, like bartending, you just happened upon? Or is that something you actually
no
for after the whole PR gig with the waste management and everything like that?
I was really curious as a child about, I was just curious as a child, period. And at 14, I was a lot in like the counterculture. I was a very young hippie girl, and our friends and my sister and our circle of friends, we were exploring new ways of thinking, and, very, very stereotypically, but not so stereotypically, we came upon Krishnamurti, a book called Think on These Things. And Krishnamurti, it's a long, I mean, he's got, there's a whole center. He's no longer living, but it changed my life. It just opened my head in a way that never had happened before. So, and then I was kind of dabbling in reading things like that. And then when I was 16, my cousin and her husband ran a yoga ashram in San Rafael, California. So for my summer vacation,
Oh, it's awesome.
my friend Sharon and I went and did Kundalini yoga right when it was all when Yogi Bhajan had just come to the country, and he actually was there a couple times. And so I've had the proclivity for this kind of thing. And even when I went to work for HCI, I only would take the job because I was working for myself, because there was this job, this book that had that kind of tenor to it. So I was like, okay, I can do this. I can work here.
So it got you excited for what it is that you were having. Like, I personally think that it would be amazing to, go into something that you totally believed in. And, I have to say, I find that story, like you just falling upon, then just that aha, waking up to the magic that is calling to you. And
Yeah.
it sounds like your grandmother did the same thing to you.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is another quote that you pulled out, and it's the thing that changed my life: instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. Mary Oliver. Tell me, please tell me. I love that this is a part of your inspiration, because honestly, in my world, this is the inspiration.
She's another one, you can pick any number of them. But I think that my book is exactly what she's saying there.
Yeah.
I paid attention, I was astonished, and I photographed it. So, and then, I was able to get people to give me the words that accompanied. So it's how I live.
I love that.
It really is.
I love that. I love that. And, then, I would think that this is a great way of walking through your world, especially if you're looking to get someone else's story out there, paying attention, be astonished, and tell about it. And I think that you've done that so well in your story so far as your wonderful, illustrious career is concerned, and then of course we go to the next wonderful quote, which I love. At the end of your time here, the world would be either more or less kind, compassionate, generous, funny, creative, and loving because of your presence in it, and you alone get to choose. Oh my God, this is amazing. And tell me what your thoughts are on this.
I'm so in love with this author that I still am, and I just found out I'm going to get to work with him for 3 more months starting January.
Oh my God. So who is the author?
I hope he's not watching, because I would do it for free.
Oh, yes.
But I really don't want to do it for free. John Pavlovitz is probably the most important contemporary voice in Christianity, which you already heard that I'm Jewish. So
right.
He is challenging all that is going wrong with all the graft and all the dogma and all the corruption in religion right now, and speaking up to the point where he says sayings like, I could either be authentic or employed. And you can imagine as a pastor, he's a pastor.
Oh, wow.
He lost his church, and because he spoke up defending, he's always defending. And if you don't know John Pavlovitz, he has a column called Stuff That Needs to Be Said.
Oh, wow. I love this.
He's young, and he also, this was like great for me as an angle and horrible for him, is that he just had brain surgery. So we had I got the Oprah editor's attention because my headline was, which I stole from the Chicago Tribune, I can't own it, was author releases book and brain tumor in same week.
Oh, wow. That's
really
a great opening. It's like, what?
I mean, you'd have to want to know more about that. So anyway, his book is called, you see what a publicist I am? I can't help myself. It's If God is Love, Don't Be a Jerk.
Oh my God, I love that. That's a great title. So you are a good publicist because you're bringing that up now. But honestly, if you feel that passionate about it, my God, why wouldn't you?
That's what I mean about the innate part of it. Yeah, but he's really important. He's really important to our times.
Wow, that's amazing. John
Pavlovitz.
Okay.
Pavlovitz. Pavlovitz.
Wow, that's amazing. I just want to point out that Berta's saying, love everything about this interview, redirects your grandmother's story. She's curious to know how you see the future of publishing for authors who have a passion for inviting people to live their best lives?
Well, the magic and the question is the word passion.
Hmm.
So I would say if you are passionate, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do to a reasonable degree. So just if you have a message that really can't help but being told, if the best form for it is a book, then I don't know. I think that's what you follow. You just keep following your heart. I'm all about that. I'm all about following your heart.
I just want to jump on to that question as well, especially when the brick walls show up for that person with the passion, and you're certainly tired, burnt out, all of the above, right? Especially during the times that we currently live. What would be the one thing that would be great advice for someone there, knowing that their message is really important, they have something to share, their voice, there was a reason why they wrote the book, and they're being called to follow this path? What would be something that you would inspire them with at this point?
I think that you have to really evaluate who it is that you want. Who is this book for? Is it for your family? Mm-hmm. Is it for your community? Is it for the people in your condo? Is it for the world? I mean, and you have to really analyze, like I have a great test for whether or not something is worth publishing in a book. And it's who cares? Like, who cares? Right. Really? Who is going to care about this? How is it so different from something that hasn't been said before? You really have to be realistic. I mean, and think, why you have to look at your motivation. Why are you doing it? Is it because you need to see your name on a book? Is it because, really, like I said before, is the book the best vehicle? So that's a very big question, and we'd have to really break it down.
So let me follow up again on that question. How do you determine whether it's someone that you can work with or you want to work with, or you've evaluated that this is something that needs a greater audience?
Well, let's talk. Why don't we just use a case study like you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, what was it that I was able to glom onto and explore and try to use as my angle for getting your other book, your Butterfly Awakens book, some interest. And there was so much. You had, and we talked about this a lot. This is like an example of a publicizable book, is that it doesn't just have one possibility. You had the loss of your mother, which was a huge.
Yeah.
You had the having been the part of it that I still don't think has been explored enough or exploited enough is having been a Homeland Security attorney. To me, is like mind-blowing. That I'm talking to you and that you did that. To me, it's like, that's like huge. That is so and unusual. You know what I mean? It's like, you hear about that profession. You don't usually know somebody who's done that. The travel aspect, the pilgrimage, going in Spain. You have you have all these rich goodies to pick from. So
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I loved. To me, it's like, it was like a meal. It was like there was a lot to eat, a lot to share, a lot to try to get attracted, to attract attention for.
And one of the things that on the other side of the coin, as the person seeking the publicity, that I absolutely loved about you is that you were excited with me. And for me, it's one thing to be one of many, and we get it. You've got a clientele base, you have people that you work with. Your energy is not only for me, but you got excited with me. And this for me was a 10-year project. Certainly I was tired at the end of the day, but the bottom line is that momentum builds when you get to have a conversation to someone who says that your book is a meal. Like, that is exciting to me, because you don't want to have someone say, I'm not a first debut author, but you're not well known and nobody really knows you, and you're like one of that's not what you are about, because you are a manifester and I saw it happening, and I loved working with that. You're the kind of person that says there might be an obstacle or a wall. Let's figure out a way around it, which I think is gold, 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 gold. George Buttocks is saying, preach from the heart. Woo. And then Rena, right, love it. And that'll take us to even the next, like I said to you guys, if you have questions for her, please write in, because these are awesome. And it's a great conversation to have, especially if you are in one of our positions, either side. But this is great. Extremes have shown what frightens them most: a girl with a book. Thank you, Kim. This is really preach from the heart. Woo, woo, woo. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Tell me how this speaks to you.
I mean, that's political. That's huge. That's like, says everything.
Says everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe that we will be saved by sharing those thoughts that we have in our mind with other people and educating ourselves as to different perspectives. And right there, Malala, I mean, how do you get bigger than that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is beautiful. I've looked at life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life's illusion I recall. I really don't know life at all. Joni Mitchell, boom. Oh God, that is the music for the masses, preached from the soul. I love it. Tell me what you think about this as well.
First of all, I get shivers.
I did too. I totally did.
And you know that she's just got a Kennedy Center honor. She's getting all this attention that she's not had. And the thing that we didn't talk about in my bio, which I told you in my little note to you today, that I do have a supersized ego. I'm a musician, and I'm actually a musician first. You can see my electric piano in here. I have a baby grand in my living room. I have about 4 guitars. I have a dulcimer. I have a mandolin. And who is my favorite? Who's my queen? Is Joni Mitchell. So,
oh my God,
I looked for a Joni Mitchell quote that, I mean, of course, the meaning of the lyrics is just, poetic and applies to my sense of wonder. And yeah, so
oh my God,
it comes from that part of me.
Well, I think we have a musician on. I think George is a musician too. So yes. So, interestingly enough, musicians are true artists as well. I mean, they're, as far as the verbiage, their word artistry is just beyond, because the words match with the music that can go out to many because of that tune that you continue to play in your mind because of these beautiful, empowering words. And what you have quoted here with Joni Mitchell, amazing, amazing, amazing. So
she's if I had to describe what she does, she's the most literary lyricist. I think you could take her lyrics and read them without hearing the music, which is very rare.
Wow. I will say this, one of the coolest things about life in general is the fact that we can be swept away because of a beautiful song. And certainly, Joni Mitchell, my God, like legends. Let's speak to legend, and did you work with her, or she's not?
Oh God.
We'll put that out in the universe, right? The big ask,
Yeah. It's like, who knows? I may have sent her something at some point in my musical career, but I never heard back if I did.
Well, we can always ask, right? We can ask for the connection. Certainly, you never know who's listening and the universe, and we put it out there. You never know how.
Yeah, but I'm happy to, I don't bow a lot to. I'm happy to bow to her.
Wow.
She can have that space.
She's bowable. And then we have Thich Nhat Hanh, which, another one who goes without saying, words and thoughts concerning compassionate action that are not put into practice are like beautiful flowers that are colorful but have no fragrance. Wow. For all the authors out there, think about what this says. Go ahead, Kim, tell us what this means to you.
I mean, if it's, if you're just full of hot air, you're full of hot air. I mean, if you don't mean what you say, or if you don't show in action what your words are talking about, it really doesn't impress me. Not that other people are here to impress me in their life, but it's important to have conviction and really be, the enthusiasm, what you talked about, the excitement that you and I shared. It's like, I need that.
Yeah.
You seem to need that. We're both attracted to that kind of thing. So I don't know, though. I mean, there's some beautiful flowers that don't have fragrance that I think are still beautiful. So I don't know that I can completely enroll with the entire sentiment of this, but actions of compassion are more important than ever.
Oh, we so need it now more than ever. Compassion
in our households, you just go from your household to your community to your just keep getting larger and larger concentric circles.
I find it very interesting because I think that when you show up in a very compassionate, generous fashion, certainly to share with the whole world that beauty that is you, which I think I encourage as many people, who are listening out there, that we need that. We need the beauty that is you out there. Then you will attract others who are a lot like you. So I wasn't surprised to find you on my path. And I certainly am not surprised with a lot of the individuals when I show up pure of heart, like you had said already in your quotes. And then we're back to your beautiful sunrise, sunset. And certainly, interestingly enough, as this may seem, my book originally was supposed to be called The Sunrise of My Soul's Bliss. And I find it just amazing that, you find people in the sunrises and you are grateful for those in the sunset and the 52 weeks of awe and gratitude. Isn't it the awe, be surprised in the sunrise, and then the gratitude when you're about to rest?
You totally got it. Totally got it.
It's just but it doesn't surprise me that is where we find each other, right? In that wonderful synchronistic place. So back to the wonder that is you, Kim. I would always love to know what are some of the tools that keep you walking on this path, open to possibility, with that wonderful hope that tomorrow could bring you something more to be in awe of and grateful for.
Probably first and foremost is nature. Like I haven't gone walking for the last week, and I really feel it when I'm not. I'm still going outside. I'm still outside, and if people, I'm in Santa Fe, so I live in a different kind of wonderland than Florida.
Yes.
So I really do miss a lot of that wonder. So nature really sustains me. I think nature and good friends and connections with people, and with nature, nature is really big for me. I now photograph birds on a daily basis that are outside my window, and landscapes here, and because everything's really breathtaking here. And
I would love to say this. I would encourage those who are on the feed or hearing this at another time to look at her feed in Instagram. It's really beautiful. You have amazing, amazing pictures of nature. And, it's so funny. It's out there. It's free. It's just for your eyes to bask in the beauty of what we're all, allowed to experience on the daily, right? I mean, that is.
When I used to be in Florida, and I lived close to the beach for, the last 15 years or so that I was there, I would just look out on the ocean, and no matter what was going on, and things were much less crazy when I was there than they are now, I would just look out at the ocean, and I would know, well, this is why I'm here. And it washed everything else away, kind of like I had that sensation that it was all going to be okay, because look, I'm just like this little drop.
What you just said is really kind of important for everyone just to actually hear that whatever's going out there, when you get out into nature, you do feel a sense of calm and peace, that everything is going to be okay, especially in this world where we experience stress on like the daily, or things happen and you're just like, your anxiety might be off the charts. And as Leslie points out, good friends are so important as well, that we share those experiences. And I know in the publishing journey of my book, making friends with you, having that kind of relationship, making friends with my fellow authors and my cohort, certainly all that comes together as a part of the journey and becomes the part of the journey that I am most grateful for. I love that you're mentioning nature, because it really is available for all of us, to go out and experience, and nobody needs to give you permission to do it either.
I do something else though. I do keep, I guess I take it for granted because I've been doing it for so long. I keep a gratitude journal it's a little bit less journally because I'm doing it on the computer, but every single day before I start work, I pause and I make sure that I acknowledge what I'm grateful for, and it really varies.
Well, I like that, because also you're willingly, or you're voluntarily setting the tone for the day that you want to have. And I think that's really important too, because a lot of us just wake up and grab our phones and we just go to it, and we don't even like set any kind of mantra or theme to bring us to that place of, from what do we want to jump off of. I love that you're mentioning that. Certainly, regardless of whether it's on the computer or in your book, I think it's a wonderful practice to incorporate. And it kind of was going to be right along the lines of what's your best tools, as far as what is that you want to embrace, with tools that can elevate you to where you want to go. 2021 is almost over. 2022 is like 2 weeks away. We have a lot of celebrating that we all want to do. And certainly, as you wrap up another successful year of your wonderful, your business and your mission to bring other people to the fore, and connecting people. I know that you've introduced me to so many beautiful, like the Joy podcast. I loved it, and Meredith and Louie. Oh my God, I love it. Just so many people that you brought into my life by virtue of the fact that we've had that relationship as far as publicity and everything else, for sure, different strategies, etc. I just want to acknowledge you with the gratitude that I have tonight. I told you at the beginning, I would love to have this conversation. I think it's really important that you have a good relationship with the person and that you choose to also rep your book out in the world. And I really am amazingly grateful for the connection, certainly, the friendship, and who knows where this journey is going to take us together. But back to the beginning of the interview, when I asked you what your intent was for tonight.
Well, my intent, so many things. Well, I have a little one that has to do with sugar. After holidays, gotta really not have so much of that. But I think it's really okay. It's about, I've started a new life here. I'm not here 3 years yet, so it's continuing here and virtually and everywhere else to connect with people of similar souls, as with soulful people. Yeah. And then on a if it was like, I also need to find tropical time in 2022.
Yeah. Find tropical time. What does that mean? Coming back to Florida,
Hawaii, Mexico. It could be. I need to be in warm water with sun for a little time. So
well, I think truly back to your point with regard to nature, knowing what kind of nature calls to you is also very important, right? I mean, especially when you've been exposed to the ocean and to that for such a long time as a part of your life story, having that continuation is pretty wonderful. So what page in the Magical Guide did you pick to match that intention?
I picked 363. I don't know if it matches the intention, but that's what I picked.
Okay, and what was your beautiful insight for today?
It is La Dolce Vita. Stop and smell the roses. So you see this kind of recurring theme, right?
Yes, I love it. Yes, for sure. And is there something particular that speaks to you that you would like to share with the audience from that today?
I think that it's all about embracing what's in front of you and not missing it. and keeping alert and aware of the beauty that's everywhere. You know, it's like I have a hashtag where when I'm taking photographs, I write, I see beauty.
Oh,
And,
wow. I love that. Okay, so hashtag I see beauty. Imagine if that is something that we actually embrace every day in our lives instead of looking for the negative, we see beauty. How beautiful is that, Kim? I love that. Thank you for that.
And it could be something as simple as my cat wearing a Santa hat.
I saw that. I wish I had the picture. I saw that today. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So no, it's really about it's all about. I mean, that's why I can be like, you know, I can take pictures, I can play music, I can do this work. Beauty is what it's finding that beauty in everything. And you know what I do read? I read literary fiction. I find beauty, and I mean, you'd be surprised because I represent a lot of nonfiction people, but I find beauty in how people write as well.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's private. That's, you know, that's not the people that I'm representing.
Wow, that's awesome. So, you know, I think that one of the things, and also that I absolutely love, is that as we do go into 2022, a few weeks away, and I know that you said before, you know, the sugar and the, you know, embracing beauty and all of that. But, you know, when we wake up on January 1st, 2022, and I love how you said this. We look at what is right in front of each of us, right? What is in front of you? What is it that you want to, what is your wish that you want to experience, as if, you know, it's a new day, a new year, a new bright, shiny beginning to whatever, you know, you want to explore? What is that you're looking at on that particular time and date?
I really think it's the concept itself. I think that I want to maintain my sense of appreciation and adventure and beauty and all those things. Yeah. That I just want that to flourish. So, you know, you get to a certain age, and when you've worked with, done as much self-help and, you know, exploration, you get to the place where you just like start appreciating the beingness.
I like that. Yeah.
So I just want more of, like, I never want to lose those. I just want to build those qualities and let them power me. Like, I think that they're super important. Curiosity, adventure, wonder.
I do love that you say beingness. I think because we're all doing so much, you know, we forget about just being and being present, being love, being compassion, like you were saying. I think that's really profound. I think that's really important. It kind of goes back to, I'm going to put her up there, the Joni Mitchell quote again, you know. I looked at life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. That is the beauty and the miracle of what we're all experiencing on a daily basis, is that curiosity brings us with new eyes to see the world that we weren't able to see the day before, because maybe we didn't have that information that would allow us to open a certain door or to experience a person a different way. I do love this. I think this is a wonderful gift for everyone today on this beautiful, you know, December evening. I will say this, and I wanted to ask you, you know, because I know you do come at your job with a great amount of heart and dedication, and your ego is definitely not, you know, not overblown when you're saying that your accomplishments certainly precede you, and I think you should own them. And I'm grateful that, you know, I'm able to share your message and your gifts to the world tonight, you know, certainly as far as your extraordinariness here today. And I think, you know, when going back to, you know, the new season and our, you know, we all get to show up and be whoever we choose to be, fine-tuned with the wisdom that we've gained, learned from the lessons that we've, you know, maybe utterly failed at. You know, what is your final bit of inspiration tonight for anyone who, you know, maybe, you know, inquiring into the world of, you know, publishing a book, maybe not, but maybe like looking to you as, you know, a beam of light, really, you know, giving hope? What would be that you want to share?
Oh, that's a toughie. I first have to say that I loved hanging out with you. This has been super, super fun for me, and like our first chance to do this. So thank you for having me. I just think being more and more yourself and living in your own truth. And I mean, books are wonderful. Not everybody has to write one. I mean, there's a million. I mean, everybody wants to write a book now because this is some way of self-validation, but it's not the only way. There's many other ways to find wholeness. But if you want to, there's the best part of living today is there are actually fewer brick walls and fewer barriers to getting to be able to do so.
Yeah.
So give it a try. If it's in your heart to do it, if you have something to say. I started writing a book with somebody a long time ago, this older man who was a genius, and we figured we'd start writing this book. And when we started writing it together, we realized that we didn't really it really wasn't good. What we were doing wasn't good. And then something later that I did or he did, but so you always just give it a try. See what's in your heart, and you'll know. You should know if you're honest with yourself, if there's something there or not.
I think going back to your point, the exploration, right? It's the exploration of these grand ideas or these little intuitive hits that really make life worth living. And I think that, that's exactly, to me, that's what you just said to me, is that, it might not be, the end all be all, but it was a well-worthy endeavor to find out whether it was in fact, something.
Or take small bites, do it start a blog, keep a journal,
Yes.
If you love to write.
Yes.
You may find out that you really love to write. And then if you love to write, you might find a writing workshop, you might find a writing circle and have the support of other people. That's a really important thing to do also, that I think people should know. You don't have to do it alone.
That's a beautiful point. That's a really wonderful point. And I will say this, maybe a great wish for me is to hear you play music one of these days. I didn't know that. And that's something that's so fascinating. It's not surprising, but definitely a wonderful, more intriguing part of you that
I'll give you a clue that when you listen to Lisa McCourt's Joy podcast,
that's you.
It's me.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love Lisa McCourt's Joy podcast. So that's awesome. That's you. Oh my God.
I wrote her a theme song some years ago.
Oh my God, I love that. So you are a woman of many different talents for sure. That is wonderful. And it definitely, once again, that was a gift from you, that you introduced me to Lisa as one of your wonderful people that has been a part of your network and who sing your praise. I honestly think that most importantly that they trusted you to introduce me to their world. So like I said, beyond grateful. And if I could share just one thing with all of you, is this is a gift. I've seen her pictures. It's beautiful. And it also gives you a glimpse of hope, because, one thing about nature is that when you go to sleep, there is a sunrise the next day. And at the end of your day, there is a sunset. And the fact of the matter is she collaborated with so many wonderful people, speaks to the who she is and the what she has to offer. And that she truly, as she created this, was in a state of beingness, because you only capture these beautiful picturesque. They're paintings. They feel like paintings, if you're present and you're ready to be in your world and see what it has to offer you. Is there anything else you want to add tonight before we go? I've just enjoyed this so much. You are a gift, and I'm grateful. And like I said, for sure. So
the word awe, live in awe.
Live in awe. And if you want to live in more awe with Kim, go to her website, helpmewithmybook.com. It's HELPME with WITH, my book, BOOK.com. And you'll get more information as to what she has to offer this world, and certainly connect with her at all of her wonderful sites where she shares her pictures And, before we end tonight, Leslie's saying, great interview. I love Leslie. She's got a great book too. So all of us wonderful
Thank you,
creators
Leslie.
out in the world, I do believe that there's a place for all of the different kinds of creativity, and you can find your way by, getting curious. And if a brick wall does show up, find someone like Kim who can help you can get over it for sure,
Knock it down.
Yeah, knock it down. Knock it down. And also, it's more fun when we go together, for sure. The collaboration is definitely more fun than walking this journey alone. So I say grab the other person's hand and start having those kind of conversations. And it will definitely turn from a dread or disappointment or, oh my God, there's this obstacle, to, all right, how are we going to get there? And how are we going to do this? So thank you all. This has been an amazing last episode of 2021. The month of magic and miracles continues. I wish all of you happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Kim, thank you for spending this time with me. I am, like I said, eternally grateful. I want to remind everybody that we all are deliberate creators of our own life, however we show up. Dream big, and let's together raise the positive vibration on this planet so that we all can start living our bliss with compassion, generosity, like she said, and certainly with a eager desire to play and be astonished and tell all about it. Remember, be bold, be an awakener, and it's time to manifest the life of your dreams. We'll see you in the new year, 2022. Good night, Kim. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.